Today, I want to confront you with something you're probably not going to enjoy hearing. Something that may stir enough discomfort in you to make you want to stop watching right now. But don't. That discomfort is not a coincidence. It's the sign that I'm brushing up against a truth you've been avoiding for far too long. A truth that Nietzsche understood more clearly than most. A truth that will sting, but also has the power to liberate you, if you're brave enough to face it.
Ask yourself, how often do you feel stuck, powerless, unable to face the chaos of life? How many times have you run to excuses, blaming the universe, your luck, other people? Nietzsche would have had no patience for that. To him, that kind of fragility was not just damaging to you, it was infectious. It spreads like rot and seeps into everything around it. Now here's the painful reality. You're not just stuck. You're embedded in a society that idolizes that same weakness. It shelters it, encourages it, and rewards it. Why? Because surrender is easy. It's simpler to lie down and follow than to stand up and fight. It's more convenient to blend into the masses than to rise above them. But Nietzsche didn't come to make you feel better. He didn't show up to coddle you or whisper comforting lies. No, he held contempt for the weak, not because they were inherently evil, but because they symbolized everything wrong with modern life. And when I say weakness, I'm not talking about lacking muscle or brute force. This is deeper. This is spiritual fragility. It's the inability or the refusal to face reality head-on and carve out your own path. So let me ask you, when life throws something unexpected at you, what's your first move? Do you wallow? Do you freeze, hoping someone will come along to fix things for you? Nietzsche would call that the ultimate offense against life itself. To him, life was war, not just chaos, but a proving ground, a space where only the resilient, those who rise again and again, deserve to continue. And here's the irony. The culture we live in despises those who are strong. It resents the defiant, the ones who refuse to play along. Sound familiar? Picture someone who falls, who fails, who breaks. What does the world tell them? It's okay to stay down. You're not to blame. Blame the system. Blame fate. Blame anything but yourself. Nietzsche didn't accept that narrative. He envisioned the Übermensch, the Overman, the person who transcends average, the one who refuses to seek comfort or justification, the one who turns every scar into strength. And right now, you may be thinking, isn't that harsh? What's wrong with helping the weak? The answer is as brutal as it is honest. Because by overprotecting the weak, we prolong their suffering. We trap them in a cycle of mediocrity. We create a culture where growth stops, where greatness is suspicious, and where challenging the norm is seen as dangerous. We end up nurturing a population that never questions, never dreams, never builds. But Nietzsche wouldn't loathe you for being weak. He'd loathe you for embracing it, for treating mediocrity like your final destination. Because he believed that inside every person lies the potential for greatness. Yet most never awaken it. Most cling to the comfort of complacency, shielded by a world that tells them, don't change, don't push, just exist. And here's the cruelest truth. Nietzsche was right. Look at the world around you. Weakness isn't just tolerated, it's celebrated. Victimhood is a badge of honor. Hard work is mocked. Failure is treated like the finish line, not the beginning. Nietzsche called it slave morality, a belief system that glorifies submission, sanctifies suffering, and despises aspiration. Ever wonder why people despise those who rise above the norm? Why the exceptional are often ridiculed instead of respected? It's because the presence of greatness casts a painful light on everyone else's unfulfilled potential. It reveals what others could be, but chose not to become. The strength of the few exposes the complacency of the many. Nietzsche understood this, which is why he withheld compassion, not out of cruelty, but because he knew sympathy can be a shackle. Not all help helps. Sometimes it hinders. So I ask you again, who are you? Are you the complainer? The one waiting for permission, hiding in the crowd? Or are you the one who dares to rise, who builds, who falls and gets up every single time? Because here's the truth few will ever tell you. No one is coming. No one is going to fix your life. No one is going to hand you the strength to become who you were meant to be. That strength is buried within you, and you'll only uncover it when you stop making excuses and start searching for meaning. Nietzsche's disdain wasn't for people who were born weak, but for those who stayed that way. For those who refused the risk of greatness and instead chose the comfort of mediocrity. So what do you choose? The dull ache of comfort or the burning crucible of transformation? Make no mistake, this is a decision, and it's yours. Will you remain another sheep in the crowd? Or will you step into the wilderness and live by your own code? That choice will determine whether you merely survive or whether you truly begin to live. Nietzsche didn't see the weak as victims of a broken system. He saw them as symptoms of something far worse, a rot eating away at the human spirit, a decay that strips us of passion, of ambition, of the will to really live. Let me ask you, how many times have you surrendered before you even began? How often have you told yourself you weren't good enough? That the world was too harsh and you too small? That mindset that was Nietzsche's greatest enemy. Because quitting to him wasn't just weakness. It was betrayal. Betrayal of your potential, of everything you could have been. And here's the twist. Nietzsche wasn't born powerful. He wasn't some titan from birth. He spent his life wrestling with frailty, with illness, with isolation. And through that torment, he discovered that real power has nothing to do with muscles or wealth. It's about spirit. It's about what you're willing to endure and what you're willing to become. But we live in a world that promotes comfort, that rewards stagnation, that cheers for those who settle. And Nietzsche loathed that because, to him, life wasn't about comfort. It was about proving you deserve to be here, every single day. This doesn't mean your fight is against others. The most fearsome battle is the one against yourself. Look around. How many people do you know who live like machines, doing what they're told, never asking why, never dreaming of more? Nietzsche called them the last men, the final form of a humanity that has lost its fire. Do you see yourself in that image? If yes, don't panic. That's not the end. Because Nietzsche also believed that within all of us lies the power to rise, to evolve. But that transformation requires something violent. The death of who you are. The destruction of every excuse, every fear, every limitation. This is what he meant by eternal recurrence. That you should live each moment as if you were doomed to relive it forever. That every action matters. Every choice echoes into eternity. And if that doesn't shake you, it means you haven't grasped its weight. Eternal recurrence isn't academic. It's a demand, a challenge, to live with such purpose, such clarity, that even the darkest days would be worth reliving. But Nietzsche also knew most wouldn't rise to that challenge. Because change is terrifying. Because greatness demands sacrifice. Because it's far easier to curse the world than to change yourself. But if you're still watching, it's because something inside you refuses to settle. Because you feel the pull towards something greater. Nietzsche wanted to awaken that very flame in you. The fire, the rage, the sacred unrest that drives you to rebuild yourself. And the greatest threat to that fire is not failure, is not fear, is not rejection. It's apathy, that cold, numb indifference that makes life fade into background noise. Nietzsche feared that most of all, because it's the first sign that your soul is slipping into decay. To be alive is not just to breathe, it's to feel, to fight, to burn. Nietzsche didn't hate the weak because they were flawed. He hated seeing their potential go to waste, the unlived life, the brilliance they buried. So I'll ask again, what are you going to do now? Will you keep fading into the mass, accepting the world as it is, obeying rules you never chose? Or will you rise, resist, become something even you didn't believe was possible? That choice is everything. And as Nietzsche would say, he who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Let's dive even deeper. Nietzsche didn't just dismantle religion. He dismantled the very idea of external authority. The death of God wasn't a rejection of faith. It was a call to take responsibility for your values, to stop outsourcing your morality. You define what matters now. You are the judge. You are the creator. And that's not a light burden. It's immense, because it's far easier to adopt someone else's rules, follow someone else's map, live someone else's life. But Nietzsche warned ease has a price, your soul. So here's the hard truth. Every time you wait for someone else to show you the way, every time you let someone else dictate your path, you're killing the fire inside you. Because the world doesn't need more followers. It needs creators, those who reshape themselves and, by doing so, reshape everything around them. And that transformation, it starts with destruction. You have to break the chains of fear, insecurity, and dependency. It will hurt, but it's the only path that leads somewhere real. Now, you might be wondering, is it worth it? Living with such ferocity? Wrestling with your own demons every day? That's not for me to answer. Nietzsche wouldn't have answered that either. He didn't want followers. He didn't want worshippers. He wanted thinkers, fighters, individuals who forge their own meaning. So I'll leave you with a decision. Stay as you are, safe, numb, forgettable, or walk into the chaos. Not for glory, not for ease, but for meaning. The meaning of a life that is truly yours. Your move.